And we are back. It is hour 2 of Hard Foul Radio. And speaking of being back, it is the return again. NFL season is 4 weeks away. It is the return of our weekly quarterback rankings, the QB bar. Now listen, I'm aware there's other QB rankings that exist on the internet, but they're not as good as this one. This is the most objective, purely scientifical, purely analytical, the best way to rank quarterbacks. We have, of course, if you are unfamiliar, we have in that top right corner, we are going to need to make that bigger in the future. This is back to school. These are the guys who don't even make the list. Then we have associates, we have junior partners, we got senior partners, and then we have the spot that can only be reserved for one guy, the managing partner. So, again, for any of you that haven't seen this before, I got obsessed with suits a few years ago, and so this is my way of combining both football and suits. So let's get it started. First off, with the back to school. If you are in a quarterback competition and you are not guaranteed to play this year, this is where I put you. So, of course, that's Michael Penix and Tua. They're fighting it out in Atlanta. We don't know who's going to be the starter. You got Kyler Murray and 9 in Minnesota. We don't know who's going to be the starter. These guys both, again, nothing super overly impressive here. Shedeur in Cleveland. I'm not putting the nasty guy on my graphic. Sorry, not sorry. But those guys obviously battling it out in Cleveland. And the one exception is the one rookie that I think is going to play. That obviously is Fernando Mendoza. But I wanted to acknowledge him as the first overall pick in the draft. But considering that nothing right now, all of the reports say that he's not going to play, I threw him here back to school. The only team that does make this list whatsoever, I thought about putting the logo, but is the Arizona Cardinals. Because I don't know, they went from a quarterback contract offseason battle with Jacoby Brissett to now Carson Beck maybe as the guy because he played well in the Hall of Fame game. Worst quarterback situation in the league. And so they don't make the list whatsoever. But these are the guys who are fighting for spots. These are the guys who are not guaranteed to play this year. Send them back to school. As a reminder, these are not left to right, nor are they up and down. At least for this week, I might change that. But the entirety of associates, these are kind of like group rankings. We have, let's start the bottom row. Let's go Bryce Young. Bryce, I need to see some consistency, man. You can't be good for a game and then awful the next. You need to start putting the consistency. This is year 5. I will say Bryce Young getting his 5th-year option picked up before C.J. Stroud was not something I would have ever thought was possible, but it did happen. Both obviously had their options picked up. Bryce did make the playoffs last year with the Panthers, but they also didn't finish under 500. Tyler Shuck, we talked about the Saints yesterday. You've seen some good with Tyler Shuck, but again, we need to see the consistency. And he beat up some bad teams at the end of last year, but we need to see what he looks like full season. Let's do it. Jackson Dart, I think he's in the same boat. You've seen the flashes, and maybe the most flashes of anybody here on this bottom row. But I need more than just the flashes. I need to see the consistency. A lot of these guys are going to see this is a consistent theme. You need to see the consistency. You need to see these guys step up, play better more often. Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He's a 4-time MVP. He's going to walk into the Hall of Fame when he's done. But it's his final year. Him, Mike McCarthy, we'll see what magic potentially they have left. But I'm not buying it. It's tough for me to put a 40-plus-year-old Aaron Rodgers any higher than associates. Again, these are not up and down, so this is all these guys are grouped in the same. Then we got Malik Willis here. Malik's kind of chilling by himself. He got paid pretty good life, $60 million to go live in Miami. That from being a Green Bay backup, that from being a Titans backup. He's living pretty good. But we got to see something more than just a game and a half. We got to see what he looks like outside of Matt LaFleur's system. So he's in here. But he is going to be these guys, really this whole little box, him, Kirk, Geno Smith. None of these guys, Willis will probably play out the full season. Geno will see. He's with the Jets. Kirk, none of these guys are overly fantastic, but they are guaranteed day one starters, which is why I don't have them going back to school. Cam Ward. One day I'll quit Cam Ward. I promise. It's not today, though. I think Cam Ward is going to take a leap in year 2, but until I see that leap, I have to be fair. I got to put him down here with the associates. CJ Stroud. CJ probably has the most pressure in the NFL for anybody not named Jalen Hurts. You have what is going to be projected and a lot of people discussing as the best defense in football. I think it's either them, Denver, and Seattle are all going to be in conversation, but Houston, I think, has the lead in that convo right now. You got to do something with this defense because this defense is not going to be this dominant forever. The more and more guys you got to pay, you're not able to keep everyone together. You're about to get paid. You got to show that, hey, you can still do this even if you're – because, again, if you're paid, Will Anderson's paid, Stingley is paid, can't pay everyone. Daniel Jones coming off an injury. He looked great at the start of last year. Let's see what it looks like now. Coming off an injury, he got paid. Happy for him. He got his money. But let's see what he looks like now. Coming off an injury, year 2 in Shane Steichen's offense. Let's see what it looks like. And I will say this, Baker would be the top of this list. I think he's the best quarterback that is listed here. But Baker had a really rough down the stretch. So much so that the Buccaneers, and I know, not the greatest franchise in the world, but they didn't want to re-sign him. That's a red flag. If you're not willing to give a guy like Baker that, as he says, he's a franchise quarterback, and he is, if you're not willing to pay him, something's up. So I do think he's the best quarterback on this list. I do have some reservations, which is why I have him kind of as like the top end of the associates. Going to our junior partners, let's start with the 2024 class. So this is Caleb, this is Bo, this is Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Again, disregard where they're at exactly in there. These are all grouped together. I even put Bo on the second line, so again, no bias here. I think all 4 of these guys, you got to put them in the same boat. Bo's been the best objectively, consistently through 2 years. Caleb has had probably the highest highs as far as in-game. Drake has made a Super Bowl, top 2 in MVP finish. Jaden Daniels got to an NFC championship game in maybe the best rookie season of all time. They all have, if you're taking out your bias, they all have legitimate, objective reasons why you could say they are the best quarterback in their draft class. And so I firmly believe you got to group them all together when you're doing these kind of rankings. And this year is going to be a big year. Whoever takes that next step and truly separates themselves, whether it's a deep playoff run, whether it's a top 5 MVP finish, whether it's, winning your division, like whatever it is, like this is going to be the year we start to get some real separation. But all 4 guys up to this point have a claim they're the best quarterback in the class. Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, maybe the 2 most talented quarterbacks who, again, everybody believes in, everybody loves, everybody, like how pretty of a ball they throw, all this stuff. But we got to see it get done. Trevor, there was a rebound in Jacksonville last year. They won the division, but he did not play great in that playoff game. Herbert's never played great in a playoff game. At some point, the talent, like the resume has to match the talent. So while these guys are senior partner talents, we still got to knock them down a level until we start to see some of that playoff success. Going over here, some NFC guys, Jordan Love, Purdy, Jalen Hurts. Who's the best of those 3 quarterbacks? I think people would say Love's the most talented. Purdy's the most probably the most consistent, and Hurts has the best resume. But also people will tell you Hurts might be either out of a job or on his way out after this year. We'll see what happens. He's got the most pressure, some of that just being the nature of Philadelphia and how talented that team is. Purdy, maybe he's going to be the last 49er standing, the way the substation's going out. And Jordan Love, I believe Jordan Love is a good football player. I also think if you're a really good football player and you're playing quarterback, you're not just always the 7th seed. Like, can we get higher than the 7th seed this year for Jordan Love? Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott, maybe 3 of the most underrated QBs in the sport. Dak just year after year after year puts up numbers. You're going to have a top-end offense if Dak Prescott is your quarterback. That's just the reality of his situation now. Sam Darnold, coming off a Super Bowl, Again, how much credit does he get? Obviously, Seattle had a dominant defense, but he won a Super Bowl. He has back-to-back great years. Last year with the Super Bowl, the year prior to that, the 4,000 yards and 14 wins with the Vikings. You got to give these guys their credit. Jared Goff, just the last 3 to 4 years with this Lions resurgence and them being one of the best teams in the league. I know they didn't make the playoffs last year, but he has consistently put up year after year really, really good numbers. He's the epitome of consistency at the highest end. He's like the best consistent guy who we don't consider an all-pro quarterback talent. Moving up to senior partners, it's 4 guys. It's Matthew Stafford, who's the most senior of senior partners. It's Lamar Jackson, it's Josh Allen, and it's Joe Burrow. It's so hard to make a case for anybody. Like, these 4 guys have clearly just separated, and obviously our managing partner, but they've just clearly separated from everybody else to the point that to argue that they're not one of, again, I have my issues with Joe Burrow. I'd like to see him, stay healthy. He also needs to make the playoffs again, but these 4 guys have separated themselves from the rest of the league. 2-time MVP for Lamar. Stafford, Super Bowl and an MVP. Josh Allen, he's got an MVP, and he's everyone's favorite quarterback. He'd be all decade if you ask some people. And Joe Burrow, again, he's got to stay healthy, but we know what that Bengals offense and that team is like when Burrow is healthy. I just want to see him get back into the playoffs. And then the most unbiased thing I can say, the managing partner, it's Mahomes. I'm aware he's coming off an injury, but the same way that these 4 guys have separated themselves from everybody below them. Like, I don't think any of these guys in junior or associates has an argument that they are as good, either resume or as talented as the senior partners. Mahomes' resume is better than all of this. Like, he has the resume of all the senior partners put together plus some. He's been to 5 Super Bowls. He's won 3 of them. That's won everybody in the senior partner list. He has two MVPs. Obviously, there's 4 MVPs there now in senior partner, with Lamar having 2, Allen and Stafford having 1. But he's got more. He's tied with Lamar for the most for an individual player. It's the playoff stats speak for themselves. Yes, do I think the Chiefs are taking a step back this year? 1,000%. But until someone really comes and takes the crown from him, it's going to be tough. Now, this is holistically as the season starts. I think what I am going to do is I am going to make the row by row. I'm not going to do left to right, but I am going to go, like, there'll be a bottom associates row, top associates row, top junior partner row, higher junior partner row, and then same with the senior partners. What I am going to do, though, just for everybody listening, this is holistically as the season starts. This will be every single week on Tuesdays. So this will start to change as guys have impressive stretches during the regular season, as guys are stacking up wins, stacking up yards, stats, etc. This is not if you're a JP right now, you just stay there for the entirety of the season. Guys will be going up, guys will be going down, but this is how I see holistically going into the season. The QB bar, the best quarterbacks, all the way down to the worst quarterbacks in the National Football League. Again, the Cardinals are the only team that doesn't have anybody up on here. I was thinking about just using the logo, but when you're dealing with Jacoby Brissett, contract holdout, and Carson Beck, a couple good series in the Hall of Fame game, I think it's a really rough situation. This is Hard for Radio. We'll be back momentarily.